It's a logical progression for many people, not for everybody, but certainly for many people that, you know, I suppose it's that they're working with someone, they're turning over X amount of dollars each week in sales, and they look at what they get in pay and they start thinking, you know what, I could open my own salon, I could keep all of that. So I think the advice is that you know, most salon owners completely underestimate where the rest of that money goes. So they might get the 5 or the 6 or the 800, whatever it is, you know, pounds, dollars, euros in their hand each week, but they might have put $2,000 in the till, and they look at what they get in their hand and they think, if I had my own business, I'd keep the whole lot. Well, many people has gone into it thinking that, and many of them have realized 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, not only don't they get to keep all that, in many cases they get a lot less than that, and sometimes they're paying their staff more than they're paying themselves, and they do it under the misguided understanding that it's their business and that one day they'll have their big payday when they sell the business, etc. And for very few people does that come true. So, you know, I suppose the advice is that not to assume that opening your own business is the logical next step. Opening a business is not right for everybody. The skills that are needed to run a business are a very different set of skills that you require to be good at delivering the technical side of what you do. So yeah, don't just automatically assume that it is a rite of passage that you should follow, because a lot of businesses don't work, and a lot of money gets lost in the process, and there's a lot of heartbreak in the process. If you're still determined to do it, you know, get an education as much as you can before you open the salon, you know, a business education. If you're going to do it with partners, make sure that partners bring some skill sets to the business that perhaps you don't have, because often there are some very successful businesses out there that are partnered by 2 different people, one of whom is the business person, and their focus on how to grow and develop a business is more about sales and marketing, it's more about HR, team building, it's more about cash flow management, etc. Whereas the hairdresser typically tries to grow the business and using the skills that they have and that they know, and those are the skills of a hairdresser. So they find themselves doing lots of haircuts, taking lots of photographs, you know, trying to do lots of shows, and thinking that this is the way to growth. Well, on its own, it's not the way to growth. Often it's a path to ruin if you haven't got someone else looking after the other side of things. When they don't necessarily want to open a salon, but they do feel stuck. I mean, there are lots of different models in the industry, and a lot of them I don't necessarily like. So I'm not advocating any of these models, but I'm aware that you can't stop change. Change is happening whether we like it or whether we don't like it. And you know, the route of self-employment, which comes under the guise of many different things now, whether it's, you know, booth rental or rent a chair or being a contractor. You know, often they're pretty much the same thing under different names. The names vary from country to country. Or working in a salon suite is another business model. It's another avenue to have some independence of your destiny, some control over the income you produce. And you know, if you take it as far as a salon suite, you know, it's a business of its own with its own 4 walls, but you're still not employing staff necessarily. So, you know, there are other paths up the mountain. Some of them lead into something else further down the line. I know of lots of people that have gone into salon suites, for example, that have then gone on to open up their own salons, and it sort of served the purpose of a stepping stone. You know, I always think that nothing ventured, nothing gained. You know, that you need to follow your passion, you need to follow your heart, and you need to take some risks sometimes. Some of those risks are going to work, some of them aren't. But if you don't do them, you're always in a sort of a bit of a what-if situation. You know, sometimes a jolly good holiday can help as well. You know, you're stuck in a rut. You know what you need? You need 3 months off. You know, get 3 months off. Quit your job if you need to. Stick a backpack on and travel around India for a bit. And you know, you come back and reassess what you want out of life and perhaps where you want to work. Sometimes it's just a change of salon, a change of salon culture. Different salons, different salon organizations can within them, you know, present different career paths that might be more satisfying and take you out of the rut that you might be in.